fourth grade. Today we're going to work on using models to add fractions. We are now on chapter 11, and this is lesson 11-1 on page 163 in your math workbook. So we're going to start down at the bottom of the page using models to find sums. Remember, when we find a sum, we are adding. So it says to use a model to find 1/8 plus 3/8, and there's the model. I'm going to draw it right on here. I already have the bar drawn. So I'm just going to use the top one, and I need eighths because I'm adding 1/8 plus 3/8. So I'm going to divide this into eighths. I have 8 sections. Okay, and then I'm adding 1/8 plus 3/8. So I'm going to shade in 1/8 with one color. That's 1/8. And then I'm going to shade in 3/8 with a different color. Here's 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. That's 3/8. Okay, so I'm adding 1/8 plus 3/8, and I just count, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4/8 shaded in. So 1/8 plus 3/8 equals 4/8. That's how you use a model to solve that. And on number 3, it asks you to draw a model to solve 2/4 plus 1/4. So I'm going to use a model again. You're just going to draw a bar, draw a rectangle. Okay, I want to do 2/4 plus 1/4. So I need to have my bar divided into 4 sections. Okay, so I have 2/4 plus 1/4. So I'll shade in 2/4, 1/4, 2/4. Right there, that's 2/4 plus 1/4. Let me use a different color for 1/4. There's 1/4 right there, and if I count, I have 1, 2, 3. 3/4 shaded in, 3 out of 4. So 2/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. Okay, and now let's look at number 2. I skipped number 2 and went to number 3 because it was the same as number 1. But number 2 is using a number line. So here I have a number line drawn, and I'm going to add 1/5 plus 3/5. That's the problem that I'm adding. 1/5 plus 3/5. I'm going to do it on the number line. So first I have to divide my number line into 5 sections. 1/5 would come in between 0 and 1. So I'm going to do 5 sections. There are my 5 sections. So there's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, and then 1 whole would be 5/5. Okay, so I'm going to do 1/5 plus 3/5. So I have to go from 0 to 1/5, right there. That's where I'm going to start, right there at 1/5. And then I'm going to add 3/5. So I'm going to count 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. And where I end up is my sum, and I ended up at 4/5. So 1/5 plus 3/5 equals 4/5. So that's how you use a number line to add fractions. Now notice all these fractions that we have been adding have the same denominator. Notice that we are only adding the numerators because the denominator does not change. I'm still on fifths here. When I use my model, I still have the same sections. So 1/5 plus 3/5 equals 4/5. Now let's look on the next page. Okay, on 1 through 6, you just have to add. Okay, you can draw a model if you want to, or just add your numerators and keep your denominator the same. Number 7 asks you to draw a number line, so just like we just did on the other page. Now I'm going to do number 9 with you. Number 9 says, each day for 3 days, Kyle swims 1/8 of a mile. On each of the next 2 days, Kyle swims 2/8 of a mile. How many miles does Kyle swim in all? Explain how you found your answer. Well, I can see that Kyle swam 3 days and 2 days, which is 5 days. So I'm going to do a bar for that. Kyle swam for 5 days. I don't want to do it in the middle. Do 5 days. Okay, so here's day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. Okay, it says for each day for 3 days, Kyle swims 1/8 of a mile. So for 3 days, 1/8, 1/8, and 1/8. And then it says that on each of the next 2 days, Kyle swims 2/8 of a mile. So we'll put 2/8 and 2/8. So now we have to add up our fractions. So 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 is 3/8. And then, so that would, this part right here would be 3/8. And then 2/8 plus 2/8 would be 4/8. So 3/8 plus 4/8 equals 7/8. So Kyle swam for 7/8 of a mile in all. You go ahead and finish the page.